Hello. Yeah, hi everyone, sorry for the late start. Okay, I'm going to be presenting Hyperion Development. We're a community-based and education sort of student startup. Okay, we were started by Riaz Muller. He's currently at the University of Pennsylvania and studies at Edinburgh full-time. He went over there and found that the difference in education was massive, and thought he'd come back and try and share some of what he'd learnt, and so the difference in level of course with South Africans, and then sort of just got more and more involved in community development. Okay, so who we are. Yeah, we're a group of undergraduate and postgraduate students from different backgrounds. It's humanities, sciences, and computer science. We're from Italy, Australia, Scotland, South Africa, and America at the moment, and we're just trying to find anyone that wants to get involved and is interested in sort of developing technological education. Although, yeah, most of our community development is centered around South Africa and South African-based projects, as this is where most of the founders are from, and where we see as the biggest area that we can improve on actively. So this is Riaz. It's not a mugshot. He just likes the Edinburgh picture. Yeah, so he decided his overreaching goal was to develop a community of people interested in doing something in technological-based education, or just developing the industry in South Africa. He's studying artificial intelligence and computer science at Edinburgh, but he's on exchange at the Wharton School of Business in Pennsylvania and doing some bioinformatics there. Yeah, this is the team that we have here. It's Edward, Richard, and myself, and we're trying to promote our initiative. Yeah, we're going to take you through our whole kind of business model. We thought that would be the plan, because we're just trying to find people who want to get involved in the different aspects of what we do. I know a lot of you are probably just programmers who aren't really going for too much community work at the moment, but I'll try and make it as brief as possible. Okay, the top tier that we've made is developers. It's not a software engineering sort of developer context, it's just people interested in developing what we're doing in South Africa. We're all studying different things, and it's just if you want to be involved, and we've split geographically because we're based in Durban and Johannesburg at the moment, and we're all just trying to get involved with the students that we have closest to us and help them set up our program on their computers or whatever they can access. No, we're trying to spread to Cape Town at the moment, and we've met some people that seem interested in doing it. But yeah, we do also have some national kind of projects, but yeah, no student base in Cape Town yet. Yeah, our Durban team is 10 developers at the moment across 4 campuses in Durban, and we've got about 140 students from 3 of those institutions. I'll go through what we're teaching them a bit further along, but yeah. Joburg is 7 developers, and we've got 110 students from the 2 institutions we've approached so far. We're going to be going to the other 2 that our developers are from in the next couple of months, or couple of weeks actually. Then in Edinburgh, we've got only 3 developers there, but they're all top students who are working on developing tasks for us, because we found one of the most attractive things students find is sort of developing their intelligence and their education in computer science. We're currently running machine learning, artificial intelligence, and bioinformatics courses, or basics, based upon the Edinburgh lectures. And yeah, then we've got some people in Philadelphia at the University of Pennsylvania who are trying to develop products that might help us access students across South Africa and give them access to computers, largely with Raspberry Pis, and adapting them to sort of the context we can use them in South Africa. So yeah, it's a university-centric organization. I think Google Docs is being grumpy. Okay, what we do. We took this from the underpants gnomes of South Park. We figured we could go out, hand out some forms with links to online Python resources, wait 2 weeks for expert programmers to emerge, and then profit. Yeah, that's their wonderful diagram that took us to that conclusion. That didn't really work out, so we tried to develop ourselves a program that might work. We started off just providing free training to students that don't have much experience in computer science and fundamental and advanced programming concepts, doing research-based topics, like what I said earlier, in machine learning, artificial intelligence, and bioinformatics, engaging with them face-to-face, which our developers have been willing to do, and trying to find them paid work opportunities, because that's one of the things that really attracts students to us. They can see sort of work experience and making a bit of money, and yeah. Then finding some solutions to giving people access to computers and involving students in a network where possibly after they leave university they can find people who might want to collaborate on sort of tasks that they have or projects they want to engage in. Yeah, outreach. One of the biggest outreach programs in South Africa, I think, is Jumpstart SA. They've got 24 schools that they work with 3,500 learners. We're trying to get Raspberry Pis to their schools and help sort of distribute them like that and let sort of younger people get access to computers while they can still learn rapidly. And yeah. So developing, we're trying to find hardware and software solutions that will help us in this goal, develop software for clients and provide work experience, adapt our course content to make it as accessible as possible, and try and do this as quickly as possible so students can progress. Okay, I'm going to go through how we do it and the approach that we've taken through quite a lot of trial and error. We've just been advertising through lectures and whatever university mailing systems there are. Students can register online or just through paper registration forms if they don't have access to the internet. We gather information about students and try and tailor the course as much as possible to them and find people that can help them move through it as quickly as possible and at whatever rate they want to. And we've developed a Hyperion situation system that helps us model exactly how we approach each student based upon their background and situation. Yeah, this is a background of the students that we've got in the last 30 days. About 50% of them don't have any access to computers or internet. And yeah, that's one of our primary problems, although we've been managing to get them to LANs or any other possible way of sort of letting them access our course. Okay, yeah, that's just a pie chart of who we've got in the last little while. It's obviously not done properly, but the blue piece is the University of Johannesburg, which is, we just moved to them in the last couple of weeks and we had a huge influx of students. Okay, so yeah, students work at their own time and we have a number of different languages and learning tools that we've developed. We offer mostly Python courses, which is why we're here, and we try to take it beyond that for students who are interested in developing their knowledge in sort of more research-based topics if they haven't had access to those at an undergraduate level. How many people here know what Dropbox is or have worked with it? Okay, well, we just use Dropbox and Notepad++ to communicate with students. Students sort of I'll go through exactly what they get to start, and then they'll share what they do on Dropbox, open up Notepad++ and comment on any problems they have. And yeah, it notifies our tutors on the desktop, or they'll go and check in and then they can help a student through any issue that they're having. Yeah, it's an example of the events log and someone giving student hints. Magical system. Okay, our Python courses go from introductory, intermediate to advanced. Introductory is just people with no background at all in computer science, and we've actually managed to teach some of these people like some basics and move them into intermediate courses, which is just sort of learning to make effective and useful programs with Python. And then advanced is obviously those courses we've modeled on University of Edinburgh courses and Pennsylvania. This is basically what it'll look like when a person gets their first task. They just get a folder with task 1, Dropbox link, and a welcome file that kind of guides them through how the course is going to work. It will contain an instruction file, some example Python code for each aspect that you'll kind of need to move through the task, and sort of with a long explanation that's commented in. So if you aren't interested in knowing how a variable works, you can kind of just skip through it. You can see the code clearly, and that's how I've learned to program again, since not programming from school. Okay. Yeah, that's the files. We've got a bunch of PDFs that we've been distributing that seem to have more appeal than sort of just opening up text files with programming and comments. And yeah, it makes it more accessible for students. It's very self-explanatory and it seemed to work very well. Yeah, here's an example of code teaching someone how to declare variables and how to do it. Okay, yeah, so this is how we've structured our courses. We go with an introduction into basic programming, then strings and control structures, additional and more difficult control structures, simple data structures, input and output of text files, and a basic string search with an intro into bioinformatics. Then intermediately, it's similar but sort of not so spread out, because tutors sort of have to go task by task and help people that have no idea what they're doing to get through the initial tasks. But yeah, the interesting things that we found some people at PyCon might want to engage in is an intro into bioinformatics, natural language processing, and machine learning, which is Edinburgh's the top, well, arguably the top artificial intelligence university in the world, and those courses are largely modeled on their slides, lectures, and videos, and those are linked with everything that you do. And advanced is the Amazon Cloud, artificial intelligence from a more advanced Edinburgh course, computational complexity, and then some Django, if anyone's unacquainted with it. Yeah, so it's all been adapted from actual courses. It's not just students that are trying to make something that works. And it has been quite effective in taking people through these sort of areas of computer science. That's just to quote that. We found that we could get a lot of people involved, but one of the biggest problems with students especially is getting them to actually do something after they register. You kind of have to follow up, give them everything they need, and get them to engage with it. So yeah, I'll take you through this briefly. Or we've got people that are required to meet as developers. They meet with students in person. They are present online at least several hours a day, or just are there and available to give a couple of comments and help people out a bit. And we recognize that all our students are largely incredibly different in background and level of programming, so you do actually need to give personal help to a lot of people with learning the basics of programming. Another huge problem we had is getting access from students and the proxies that are at LANs at universities, because they just will not allow you to access them at all, install anything. They won't even allow you to install a Python compiler on their computers or give you permission to load Dropbox. Okay, so we do this with the Hyperion situation system, which is modeled on students coming from three backgrounds. Either you have access to computers and the internet and are effectively in a first world situation, or, okay, here's an example of two people. One is just a programming student with full access to everything they might need to learn to program. The other is a sociology student who can only really access computers through LANs, which don't have any of these resources and they can't access them. What do we do? Yeah, so we've made a model of how to approach every situation that people might fit into and try to quantify the amount of students falling into each situation and assign groups of developers to help them out with getting to where they need to be. This was our diagram that we sort of set out so people can tell us exactly where they are. And it's just, you don't have your own computer, you can use LANs to access lessons. The whole proxy issue. Then you have your computer and internet that you will use, or you have no access to computer LANs or computers at all. So situation one is probably someone that's going to go for advanced courses, and situation two, you sort of take them in from the beginning and try and teach them the whole way through. Loading. Okay, these are some of the guides that we've developed to help people work through some basic stuff. Well, this is how people will access our course if they don't have a computer and are going through LAN. So they can get to the internet, use tinyURL and have a sign-up form and get people onto Dropbox. You can access Dropbox through the Dropbox website, so we work with them through that. And found an online Python compiler which people can use, which has very few differences to actually using Python. It just seems like there's a little raw input, or you declare it differently. Okay, situation 3, we're trying to get a large-scale distribution of Raspberry Pis. That's like basically the biggest thing that we're trying to do. That's what we actually came here to try and find people to help us do. And yeah, we've got a network of people. Jumpstart would help us distribute this across the country. We've got some funding from the University of Edinburgh at the moment, but when it comes to the situation in South Africa, which is sort of a huge number of people that could benefit from this, we're looking to find more people who are interested in working on it with us. We've called it Project Indemon, which is it's based on the poem by John Keats, which is where our name came from. But yeah, Durban and Philadelphia are largely working on this. We found some funding in Philadelphia, or people that fund that might be interested in doing this, and we're kind of just looking to meet people that would want to help out with distributing them or involved in schools and community development as is. Yeah, we're trying to do this around Jumpstart and the schools they've set up, because they have a network where they send teachers out constantly and try and help them educate students in maths and science. Our short-term objectives obviously is set up a base in Cape Town. That's what we're trying to do for now. There's plenty of students here and just people with the whole Silicon Cape initiative. Hopefully this would be the best place to get things going. We're growing our Johannesburg group, and we're going to try and get as many students as possible involved, because if you look at it, students are the people that have lots of time to waste. They want to do productive things, get somewhere that'll hopefully give them more points with their, or going into any career in computers. So we're just trying to get them involved, get them to use some of their time a little more productively, and most people are quite excited to do that. Yeah, we're currently prototyping sort of Raspberry Pi development that'll make it more accessible power-wise, because that's actually one of the biggest issues in rural communities. A lot of them don't even have access to electricity, and if they do, it's limited. So yeah, we're trying to adapt that with a lot of the engineers that we have on board with us, and working with the Durban Linux group in doing that. Some of the projects we're doing is we've been approached by the Department of Education to train some of their IT teachers. That's an ongoing process, and it's quite tough to get responses and work with them, but we seem to be making progress, and we'll hopefully be doing that soon. There's barely any IT in Durban at the moment, and this is the KZN Education Department, and like even a lot of private schools don't offer computer science at a high school level. So yeah, hopefully we're going to try and change that a bit. We might be doing a linguistics workshop relating to natural language processing at UKZN, and their department seem keen to do that. And yeah, we're working with the Durban Linux group, or Durban Radio Amateurs Club, on Raspberry Pis. How you can help, we can help you get involved. Yeah, if you're a student, academic, or professional interested in becoming a developer or doing anything towards any of the goals that I tried to enunciate, or very interested in Raspberry Pis, we'd really like you to contact one of us or get involved in any way possible. If you'd like to do a task and see if people enjoy learning it, or just share some of your knowledge with students across South Africa, that would be amazing. Yeah. And then long term, we're trying to build it in. One of the biggest focuses is just building a network of students and professionals in the technology industry that will hopefully be interested in working together and sort of collaborating on any project they're involved in. And then offer stable part-time work to the students that we have, because that's in a large way a lot of the reason that we get some of our top students in. They just want some web development or software engineering jobs that it's really tough to obtain as a student of computer science. Yeah, and see all of our underprivileged students without access to computers get to being programmers. Yeah, so this is how you could help us. And an inspirational speech from Trevor Manuel discussing the situation in South Africa, well, the education situation in South Africa. Go to Google Docs. There. Yeah, we're currently kind of bootstrapping. We recently did get some funding, and we're looking to get more funding from the University of Pennsylvania, who are actually very keen. We've got into a non-disclosure agreement about a project that should actually get us a lot more funding, and they want to expand the network across South Africa. So anyone who'd like to get involved in that, that would be great. We're just trying to develop our course structure and network, and yeah, we'd love to see all or any of you get involved. There are our details, and there's our inspirational poem. If anyone has any questions you'd like to ask, or you could ask Edward or Richard at any other point. Okay. Well, we don't have like, yeah, we obviously don't have a lot of experience, but we do have people working with Raspberry Pis at the Durban Linux group. And yeah, we've got a couple of engineers that have hardware experience. We've introduced it to a group in Pennsylvania who said that they're deciding on what material they want to work on this kind of project with, whether it's a Raspberry Pi or a more expensive alternative. But we're obviously pushing that and seeing if we can sort of get a Raspberry Pi to work for this purpose. Yeah. But we haven't really tested it fully as yet. That's kind of still going.
How long have you been running?
Only 3 months, actually. Yeah. Well, I think 3 or 4 probably. Yeah. But it seems to be going well, and a lot of people are very interested, and we're trying to move forward as quickly as possible.
Are you familiar with the TuxNAP project?
No. Well, it's,
The Shopware Foundation, lots of lines of
oh, okay. Yeah, we don't have anyone in the Western Cape as yet. We're trying to get out here, and that's amazing. Well, that's kind of what we're trying to do. I suppose we should contact them. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that would be, or if you send us an email with, yeah, their details, we'd definitely like to get in contact with them. We're still kind of trying to network with as many interested people as possible. Well, it's all, yeah, it's just all online. Like it's, I don't know if all of the sort of answer or the full completed code is up there. It's mostly like you get a task. It's got a couple of examples that of the different elements you might need to complete the task, and then yeah, they get given the end result when they sort of finish it, or like a perfect result. But if you wanted to see how things work, I'm sure you'd be happy to sort of just give you the code and you could look at it. Yeah, it's no, it's all sort of undergrad. Well, there's quite a few postgraduate students that are kind of, well, working and have their own money and are just kind of getting involved because it's an interesting initiative. But it's not like we're students that are just going to fall away and be like, okay, this didn't quite work out, we're over it. Now we've kind of all been putting money into it, putting a lot of time into it, and it seems to be going somewhere sustainable. Yeah. Okay. I'm not fully sort of informed on all the platform. I'm not like the sort of main guy that's going and trying to find all the opportunities possible. But yeah, I could put you, if you can forward us all of these kind of things, that would be amazing. We're trying. Yeah. No, I mean like in communities that don't have computers, like. Yeah. But like just based around that, I don't know, it is looking quite promising that we will be able to do or actually get involved in that initiative with people funding it from overseas. But yeah, that's more of, it's not like using online. I don't think they aren't going to have internet where we're planning on. It's people without any access to computers that don't get trained in any computer skills. It's not necessarily going and training them in programming. It's like just give them computer skills, and then maybe if we can introduce programming, that would be great. Yeah. Okay.
I also feel that I concur with you on the road to time.
Mm.
You have to make the first step a very easy step. I don't think road to time.
Okay. What is the sort of feasible alternative?
It's hard, particularly. I work with the Shopware Foundation project.
Okay.
A lot of mostly Linux in schools,
Okay.
giving people free stuff is very hard. They don't
Mm.
take it.
Jeez.
There's nothing easy about what we're trying to do.
Yeah, we do have, I don't know, we are kind of going with it as it happens, but if we can get funding to do it, and we've got about 20 people that are like really actively involved in tutoring and training and sort of just moving forward and trying to find people who want to get involved. I don't know, we can try and do that, and there is a network of schools with Jumpstart that obviously are benefiting from maths education and are interested. So, well, we're gonna try, but I can't really dispute what you're saying. I don't have experience in that yet, but yeah. Right? Pardon? No. Yeah. Yeah, we are kind of moving towards, we're developing a website that has all of these functions sort of in one website, so people don't have to get directed around, and they can just go on, there's Dropbox access, a compiler, and all of the tasks there for them. But yeah, that's kind of a new thing, and we've had to we've got sort of a professional programmer that's also helping us with that, because most of our people aren't sort of incredibly experienced web developers, and we want it to be sort of perfectly running and get it up soon. But yeah. No.
That's kind of what we're trying to go for, in the sense that you log in, you have your own profile, you get rewarded for tasks. Tries to make it more like a game feel where you have more incentives to do it. We're aiming for that. It's obviously a very expensive task to undergo, but ultimately, like you said, we would like to try and make it a more social, interactive experience where it's not just you sitting behind your computer offline, churning on code, and to go through those. We would like to make a community feel, get a social network on it. So yeah, like I said, we're trying to do that, but it's very expensive, so we're taking a risk. Yeah, we have like a, I'm not sure if it's a it's like an online forum as such. Basically where the students can come if they want to have a more interactive feel, they can post the comments, the questions, and we as developers, much like an online forum, and post replies, and that's as far as we've got really with the community feel. Yeah, and again, it's all free. It's free to
Anyone else? Okay, cool. Well, thanks for all the suggestions and criticism, because we obviously haven't heard of a lot of this feedback. Suggestions, well, that's the valuable part, I think.
Yeah.
Like, if we can take stuff away from this, that's great. So yeah, I'm gonna have to come and find you guys and hopefully it's a lot of different initiatives that we didn't know about. So yeah, thanks for attending and informing us of things we didn't know. Cheers.